Joan of Arc is probably the most well-known woman from medieval history, but it's here in Rouen where she was burnt at the stake for heresy. Joan was born around 1412 to a peasant family, and as a teenager she received visions from the Archangel Michael telling her to help the Armagnac cause and the Dauphin Charles to regain the French throne. England and France had been at war since the 1330s, and at this point, at the start of the 15th century, France was losing. Joan, although coming from humble beginnings, came at a perfect time for the French forces. In 1429 she was sent to the siege of Orléans, where just 9 days later they were able to lift the siege, forcing the English to flee. Over the next year Joan's confidence grew, but the successes didn't always follow. In 1430 she was captured by Burgundian forces and given to their English allies. Joan was put on trial for heresy, for wearing men's clothes. Her status as a virgin was questioned, the nature of her visions that she received was questioned by the church as well, and ultimately, after a very long, grueling and humiliating legal battle, she was found guilty of heresy and very famously burnt at the stake. It was on this spot right here that Joan was executed, but 20 years later she was retried posthumously, and the original trial was found to be full of lies and deceit, and she was later found not guilty. Although Joan ultimately lost her life for the cause that she cared so much about, they created a martyr for the French cause. The English lost a valuable tool that they could have used potentially to further French losses in the region.
According to many reports, Joan conducted herself with maturity, intelligence, and religious conviction. Ultimately, though, the English clergy responsible for Joan's trial would see to it that she would die a heretic's death. The actions of Joan of Arc led to the end of the 100 Years' War and a united France. Free from civil war, and with the exception of Calais, the English from their shores, France would eventually be able to grow into a superpower that would grow to dominate much of the early modern world. Joan was eventually made a saint in 1920, forever symbolising a united France.